We are coming to you live from Newegg Studios in Southern California. This is Newegg Now. I'm Trisha Hershberger.
I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell, and we're here every Thursday, so you should be here every Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, talking about the latest and greatest in tech, also sharing some great tech deals. This week, we're going to be looking at the state of virtual reality. And to help us out with that conversation, we have some phenomenal guests from Intel and the HTC Vive team.
And of course, we're going to have a ton of great deals, so make sure that you head on over to newegg.com/NeweggNow if you aren't there already, because that's where you will find the promo codes that you need to get those deals.
So, starting the show off, talking VR, the VR landscape, since it's been changing fast, it might be a good idea to make sure we're all on the same page.
I like that.
But, speaking of being on the same page, the page you should be on would be the page that we use to highlight
That was a long way around to get to the deals.
So it was a bit of a hike to get there. I apologize.
Newegg.com/NeweggNow
is exactly what we're talking about.
Deal page. Okay, so let's go ahead and just list off some of those deals that are going to be the super hot ones right now. You want graphic cards? I know you do. We've got them. Specifically, we have the Sapphire Nitro Radeon RX 580 GPU for $100 off the normal price, which means that you can pick it up for just $299.99. So that's through the end of today only, and only while supplies last. It has 2 HDMI and 2 DisplayPort connections for you, so it's all ready for VR.
And which is super cool. And if you keep scrolling down on newegg.com/NeweggNow, you'll find a lot more. We've got 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM from G.Skill. This is part of their Trident Z series, and aside from being great high-performance gaming RAM from a respected name, the respected name of G.Skill, it also looks pretty sharp. Cool silver and black color scheme.
Yeah.
So it's pretty sharp looking. So you can check it out on that Newegg Now deals page. And if you act fast, you can pick it up for a full $110 off the normal price.
See, folks, we're not fooling around with these deals, and there's a lot more on that page that we'll be talking about throughout the show.
So let's talk a bit about where we are with VR.
Okay.
It's come a long way, even over the last year.
Yes, it has. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago when it was just Oculus and HTC on the VR scene, back in the early months of 2016, say. But the market has broadened quite a bit since then.
Yeah, definitely. To get a sense of where the general tech audience is with VR, we put up a question yesterday on the Newegg Facebook page. So we can actually take a look at the results here if you guys want to try and feed my monitor. We put up one of those polls, what with the kids are doing with the emojis and whatnot.
And the Facebooks and stuff.
And the Facebooks and the Facebooks and the emojis. Actually, some pretty surprising developments.
Surprising to us, but I feel like when you work in the tech and or gaming industry, this would be surprising to you. But probably for the majority of people, it's not. And what was surprising to me, at least, is that our winner was Angry Face I've Never Tried VR.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I get to go to a lot of conventions. So even if I don't have the possibility financially or access-wise to own one, I've had a chance to try them. So that was surprising to me.
Well, and especially because I think, and you're probably in the same boat too, even if we're not rocking like some crazy high-end VR rig at home, this is still tech that we're sharing through other means. Like
yes.
I've shown a lot of people my Daydream headset.
Yeah.
Just to kind of dip their toe in the water, but that actually brought up some interesting comments in the chat. Like one of the very first ones, Frank Romero, I haven't tried it other than my phone and a headset. I'm concerned about the screen door effect using mobile. It's really bad and it ruins the experience for me. And that spurred a whole conversation about, like, how do you usher someone into VR? Because for me, it's like, I'm giving you this taste from a phone so that you dip your toe in, and then you'll want to see like what a higher quality thing could be.
Totally.
But I now understanding there could be a consumer fear of, I tried this VR from a phone. That's what VR is, and it wasn't that great.
Well, I also feel like there's certain applications that do mobile VR better than others you could introduce people with. Mobile VR was only 15 votes on the that poll
a lot
there.
Of people kind of cool on that. HTC Vive obviously was the winner of the people voting that had tried VR. The misspelled Oculus,
the Oculus Rift,
Oculus Rift was a close follower, and then PSVR following Oculus. Also kind of interesting because PSVR is actually the highest selling.
Yeah, that was surprising to me as well. PSVR, I feel like, has the easiest accessibility point.
Totally.
with the price point and a lot of people who already have
PlayStations.
PlayStation or the PlayStation Move controllers, it just makes it an easier bridge. So yeah, this was fascinating. Thank you guys for joining in the conversation. That always helps us know where to direct the conversation moving forward.
Definitely,
So.
and apparently we picked right having the HTC Vive team on this week to talk about the Vive. 'Cause
Well,
it was the winner.
Vive
the
is
users.
my personal favorite.
So-
I'm not just saying that because they're here today. I don't own a Vive, unfortunately. But
Well, and you not owning a Vive, one of the biggest obstacles, especially when consumers are looking at entertainment dollars being spent, I think a lot of people would say the costs are still a bit of a barrier when we're talking about that high-end experience.
Yeah.
Rift and Vive. So when we were looking at launch prices, $700-800 for headsets,
plus
and
a super high-end gaming PC.
Right there.
Yes.
Yes,
now,
definitely.
And now, 2 years later, the cost for the headsets has come down quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
It's now $399 for the Oculus Rift set and $499 for the Vive. So we are in a much better place than we used to be, but that still is not
That's still not cheap, no.
especially when you add in the cost of the PC to run it. And even with those price points coming down, the perception of cost is still there for most people. And since graphic cards are so important for VR, the cryptocurrency mining craze has made the PC side of things way more expensive than it used to be.
Yeah, so because I'm still doing the Frankenbuild rebuild, and I'm very slowly moving on what parts I'm trying to get, because now we're running right up into the next generation. But when we're looking at the state of VR, because you already said you sort of preferred the overall Vive
I like the
experience.
Vive from the experiences I've had at conventions and trade shows.
Right.
Yeah, then the Vive is my favorite, particularly the Vive Pro, which I know we're going to talk about later in the show today. But I had a chance to try it out at CES, and from a comfort standpoint, it totally beat out other things that I've tried. And I even have an Oculus Rift at home. And I felt like the Vive Pro blew it out of the water. But that's my personal opinion, not that of Newegg or what I wouldn't try to tell other people what to use.
Well, but I think what's kind of interesting too, though, is that we're still having those conversations internally. We were speaking with Newegg Ninja Wes just recently before we jumped onto the live stream. Just the state of cable management.
Yes,
for your VR
so
experience
important.
is kind of a big deal too. And there have been times where that looks like a really cool VR mobile app. Do I really want to go put my phone in a headset? And that might be just enough of a barrier for me in that minute to not try a new game or a new app. And so it's like finding some of those pain points, I think, is going to be really critical for consumers moving forward.
Yeah, no, I agree with that totally. My best mobile VR experience has been Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. Plays very well on mobile.
I haven't tried that yet.
You should. It's great.
All right.
We'll do it together sometime on the show for your viewing pleasure. It's hilarious.
Excellent, because it's not like we don't talk a whole lot. So if what you're looking for is the highest quality, highest resolution VR available, and you care about room scale, being able to walk around in a virtual environment, then Rift and Vive are still your best bets. But there are other options too, including, as mentioned before, PlayStation VR.
Yeah, PSVR has proven to be a really exciting option and has actually been the best-selling, like we mentioned earlier, of the big three headsets, and because of that accessibility. So if you have a PS4 or a PS4 Pro, then you can run PSVR and you can get it for just $299, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
Not only does PlayStation VR allow you to experience fairly high performance VR, it also has some quality exclusives like Moss and the Inpatient, as well as access to titles like Skyrim VR and Doom VFR.
Yeah.
You'll still need a PS4, a headset, a PlayStation camera, and you'll probably want those Move controllers as well, so it's still a good chunk of change. But if you already have a PS4, then it might be cheaper than a Vive or an Oculus. Now, of course, performance isn't quite as good as you would find on a high-end PC.
So, I mean, if you have a good gaming PC, but you're not looking to take that big old step to the Rift Vive arm of the industry, well, there's the whole new line of Microsoft augmented reality headsets, which we've showcased on this show too. Very similar to Vive and Rift. They require less powerful hardware to run. In fact, I mean, we spent some time talking about how these things can be run on integrated graphics for a base level line of performances. So definitely some advantages there. Most exciting difference is that a lot of the sensors that we would need for room tracking are built into the headset, and something we should be talking a little bit more about Vive Pro. when we have HTC on. The trade-off is that they can sometimes lose that tracking. The headset might lose the controllers more, but the overall setup is definitely easier.
Yeah, we have a sample of the Acer AR headset just over here. The other advantage of these headsets is that they're less hardware demanding to operate. So you can even run them, like Juan said, without a dedicated GPU, though of course the quality will be lessened.
Especially
Still
that frame
though,
rate.
the idea of a headset that can run off integrated graphics is a really exciting one, as long as you don't mind a less refined experience, a slightly less refined experience. Now, the final advantage, of course, is price and options. Because these headsets are made by third parties like Acer and Lenovo, among others, you'll have more choices when it comes to both design and price. And speaking of Lenovo, these mixed reality headsets will work with a wide range of hardware specs, but you'll get great results with something powerful, like a Lenovo Legion Y720 gaming laptop. Now, this is a Newegg exclusive model, and this is a really exciting deal. It features an Intel Core i7-7700 HQ processor and a GeForce GTX 1060 graphics card. It has a 15.6-inch screen, a PCIe SSD for lightning fast storage, and today only with the promo code on that Newegg.com/NeweggNow page, you can get it for just $1,099, which is a full $700 off MSRP. Woo! Go fast, because it's not going to last long.
We're still talking about Lenovo. Mine's not quite as exciting, but still pretty cool. Gaming monitor.
Depends what you're shopping for.
Yeah, I mean, if you're shopping for a game monitor, this is actually a great deal on a gaming monitor. 27-inch curved gaming monitor from Lenovo, 144 hertz, available for just $349.99 today only.
That's a good deal.
So that's a pretty good deal. We can also talk about phones. One of our favorite topics, because we're super into the phone, specifically phone-based virtual reality options like Gear VR. And I brought my Daydream.
You brought your Daydream,
I'm just
right?
gonna go get it.
Yeah, just show that off a little bit.
Again, in a segment I like to call "I Brought It From Home." I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna design graphics and titles for you guys. So this is the Daydream. You slot a phone into a little nice fabric covered container, and it was a big step for having a good controller option that actually interacted with apps
this
on
is
them.
slightly nicer than my Google Cardboard at home, I will admit.
Yes. I mean, I was really into that Google Cardboard again, just kind of
Accessibility is cool.
Accessibility is cool. Yeah. This just kind of helped refine, deliver a nicer experience. So assuming you have a compatible phone, Google Pixel, Pixel 2, I believe Galaxy S8 and newer Galaxies will play well with Daydream.
It was the S7.
I don't know.
Well, anyway,
or
newer
Galaxy S7 with a Gear VR.
Yes.
But if you're talking Daydream,
That's
I
it.
do believe you need to be on an S8, or also the LG V30, the Axon 7, the ZTE phones. A couple great options out there that you can get started. This is about $100. That
really
then
nice.
is just powered directly off of the computing power of the phone you already own.
Yeah, it's super simple, and that can be really appealing for people who think VR and they think complicated or scary. If you're looking for a VR solution that's a good fit for maybe your parents, for example, these mobile options are a great choice. It's a nice first step into virtual reality. So you don't need a $3,000 gaming PC to have a quality VR experience, and there are also no wires to worry about with these options, making mobile VR the most portable solution.
Yeah, definitely. So the obvious disadvantage is the experience is a bit more limited than some of these other higher end solutions. So even with that little included controller, the games and the visual experiences are going to be pared down. They're going to be simpler experiences. There's no tracking in space, no movement. Even with some of them, like you would see Google Cardboard would have cutouts for the camera. No developers ever really took advantage of that. So there wasn't that sense of like adding some AR component to these types of mobile apps. Hopefully something that'll change. I wouldn't bank on that potential until we actually see it realized.
We'll see.
Still, there are some incredibly creative apps and experiences available in your phone's VR marketplace. If you already have the phone, why not pick up a headset and try it out?
Why not?
So, I mean, like, have you played around with VR apps, phones, stuff?
Just with the Gear VR.
Just with the Gear VR.
Yeah, just with the Gear VR. But like I said, I know the Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes was a fine experience on mobile. I originally played that on an Oculus, and then I played it later at a friend's house at a party off of a Gear VR, and it was a similar experience. So there are some things that translate really well. The cool thing is really that there's a VR experience available for just about everyone at very varied price points. The most premium VR experiences still require a gaming computer with high-end graphics, but there are other options, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And as hardware continues to improve, the hardware required to run VR hopefully will just get cheaper and more compact.
Interesting.
Yeah, and our first guest today from Intel will be able to elaborate on that.
And our second guest will talk us through what HTC's been up to in the premium VR space. I think we've got good coverage.
I'm excited for today's interviews.
You've got some great interviews. So stay right where you are. We're going to be right back with a look at Intel's new, powerful, and compact Hades Canyon NUC.
And welcome back, everyone. Today is a very special day in the world of compact PCs with the beginning of pre-orders of Intel's new Hades Canyon NUC. And here to tell us all about it, we have the Director of Marketing for Intel's NUC products, John Dethridge. Welcome, John.
Hey, welcome, or thank you very much, Trisha and Juan, for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's just kick off to start. Can you tell us about what you do at Intel with this division?
Yeah, so I run marketing for a group called the Systems Product Group at Intel, and we're responsible for taking innovative new form factors to market. So over the years, we've taken the Intel NUC Mini PC to market. We've done a compute stick.
Nice.
Stick-size PC, and most recently we've introduced a credit card-size computer called the Intel Compute Card as well. And so basically we take these products to market through what we call our channel. And so the channel consists of a lot of resellers and dealers and retailers and local OEMs. And basically we'll take these new form factors, we'll create the category, and then we'll enable our OEM and ODM partners to also get into that category. And we think small form factor is a great new growth area in our markets. And we also think gaming is a great new area. So what we're going to be talking about today is an awesome convergence of gaming and small form factor.
Awesome. Now, for people who hear the word NUC and still think of like older tablet technology, can you explain what NUCs are for today's purposes in general?
Yeah, so the NUC actually uses what we would say is the latest and greatest mobile technology. And so the mobile technology lets you make the product small, right? So we use BGA processors, we use SODIMM connectors, and all sorts of other cooling solutions that the mobile technologies can bring us. And so over the years, we've made it to market with something that is functional, but over the 6 years, we've pushed the envelope pretty much every year. And we started with 15-watt processors, but now with Hades Canyon, which we'll be talking about today, we've really upped it. So we've gone from 15 watts to 28 watts to 45 watts, and now we're actually doing a 100-watt processor in a super small form factor. So we have great engineering at Intel. We push the envelope. And each year we bring a little bit more to market in small form factor.
And so NUC being that small form factor platform for Intel, can you expand a little bit more? Hades Canyon, we're talking about higher wattage. Can we sink our teeth into what does that separate this year's iteration of NUC from previous products that customers might have experienced?
Yeah, so maybe just a little bit of walkthrough. So first of all, I call this the Intel VR machine. Okay. When you go to check it out online, what you'll see is kind of a more kosher name, the Intel NUC 8 Enthusiast Mini PC Kit. You know how we are at Intel, right? The code name for the product, though, is Hades Canyon. And so for just purposes of being brief, we'll just call it Hades Canyon moving forward.
Perfect.
And at 1.2 liters, basically, this is the smallest that we can find premium VR capable machine on the market. And so over the years, what we've done is we've packed more and more features and more power into small form factor based on innovative engineering. And a lot of that's around the cooling. So physics is not your friend when you're small.
Right, yeah.
And you can only get so much TDP, so many watts of power dissipated in a super small form factor, right? And so for a while, we just kind of went down the mainstream with i3 and i5 type of products.
Right.
And then last year, we introduced something called Skull Canyon, which was a 45-watt H-series processor, 7th gen. And we took that to market and pushed the envelope with Intel's best graphics.
Okay.
Got a lot of feedback from our gaming community that, hey, if you really want to, take it to market here, you got to go discrete.
Okay.
And so I think we all know in November, Intel announced a new processor, the 8th gen Core i7 with Radeon RX Vega
I was actually going to jump into that.
KB like G might be the more brief way of putting that, right? Because it's hard for me to say that over and over again.
But that sort of rocked the industry.
It did.
This was a partnership where I think the media narrative in the gaming space especially has been the death battle between AMD and Intel.
Yeah.
That this partnership, I think, took a lot of people by surprise.
Yeah, well, I think we all know that the visual experience and graphics are super important, more and more so today. And I think we all know that 80 to 90% of the solutions out there can be very well met with Intel graphics. And so graphics is super important to us. The gaming enthusiast market is also super important to us. And so we thought it would be great if Intel could bring a solution together that also incorporates discrete graphics onto the same package as the processor, right? And so we searched around. There's not a lot of places to search, I think, as we know. And we looked at the Radeon solution, and the high bandwidth memory interface was most compatible with the solution that we came up with on the processor. It's a very tight configuration. You're taking a lot of components that normally eat up a lot of space, and you're putting it into one small package.
Yeah.
And the interface that was on the high bandwidth memory for the Radeon was most compatible with what we needed for our processor. And so really it became more of an engineering choice of this is the best choice for Intel to work
the
with
most direct path without having
AMD on the Radeon solution.
Nice.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what are some of the implications of this CPU, GPU hybrid beyond just small form factor gaming PCs? Like, where do you see this technology going in the future?
Yeah, so the way we're positioning this product is we have a couple SKUs, and so one of the SKUs is being positioned for VR and gaming, so premium VR experience and AAA games. But we also think the content creator, the person who's editing videos and needs to do things real time in order to do their work. Right. Is super important, and it does require a lot of horsepower and a good graphics engine. Workstations in the office as well, so being able to get that mission control thing going with lots of different monitors, doing lots of different things in order to more efficiently do my work. We have engineers at Intel that have 5 or 6 monitors up, and it helps them do their work better to have that type of setup. And that type of setup, if you're doing CAD and things like that, takes a lot of horsepower. And so, yeah, we think something like this, it reduces clutter. It's small. You can actually bolt it to the back of your monitor.
Well, and I was also going to say, from a power standpoint, major corporations looking at outfitting numbers of workstations with old, because I used to work in a reseller channel for government institutions. Yeah. That's got to be a consideration for bay after bay after bay after bay of individual employees.
Yeah. So. Gaming is a great place to promote. It's a great market. It's a growing market. It's a lot of hype, and we absolutely believe this is a great machine for VR, VR gaming and AAA games, right? But we also believe that VR expands beyond just gaming, right? Okay. So it's all about the content with VR. We get it. It's going to take a little while to get the developers going on it. Machines like this will help developers create a lot of great content. But we see a lot of great commercial VR usages in the future. So real estate. So I'm looking for a home, right? And instead of getting in the car and going from home to home or reading about something or viewing photos, I can actually go into the 10 or 15 or 20 homes that might interest me and then maybe actually make the visit to 2 or 3 homes. Travel agents, right? So I might want to go someplace, but I can actually experience going there before.
To the same token, like I've been seeing people trying to create a market for digital field trips for education.
Military usages. You can actually practice the exercise before you actually do it real time. Surgery. Surgeons can actually do the surgery before they actually do it on the real person, practice it a few times. And so all of these things, I think, make the experience better. They make it more efficient, and in some cases, they increase the probability of success, right?
Now, because we've had a couple other companies, representatives of companies on to talk about small form factor PCs and some of the really great experimental build, there seems to be a growing trend in disrupting the traditional desktop computer, the ATX motherboard. Finding other solutions where if we're not beholden to this one shape, we can do other things with the way that these PCs are built. I mean, look at how long the industry took to get away from case design that included optical drives. And now we're seeing some really innovative style coming to PC cases. Is this something that Intel is positioning as their point for that kind of disruption? Eventually, the setup, you don't need CPU, separate GPU in the traditional housing that PC builders are expecting.
Well, we got to be honest. We look at the market, and the PC market is in decline, right? And what we think will help inject more energy into the PC market is something we call segmentation, and that basically is getting very focused in certain areas to get people jazzed and energized and excited about buying PCs again, right? ATX towers will be around, we think, for the foreseeable future. For the most powerful performance you can possibly get, or the best, overclocking experience you want, you're going to still want that tower. But we think stylish things like this. We think, 2-in-1 laptop PCs. They're stylish PCs. There's all sorts of ways where we can kind of hit a tone with certain people that might not have wanted to buy that PC, or may not have wanted to buy that second or third PC, right? And so we think segmentation is a great way to do that, and we think it's a great way to stabilize the overall client market.
Okay, so let's talk performance for a little bit. What's the potential upper limit on performance scalability on a hybrid chip like this?
Pretty high.
Okay.
So we have a couple SKUs. 100-watt SKU is our highest performing SKU, and the 100-watt SKU is overclockable.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I can overclock the processor, the GPU, and also the memory, right? And so the only thing that limits you, or the main thing that limits you when you buy this product from Intel is our power brick, right? So our power brick is a 230-watt power brick. But if you wanted to, you could come in with a beefier power brick and have some fun. You could mod the product and kind of do your own thing with it. I'm not saying there are no limits, but I am saying with the overclockable version, you can actually take it well beyond what we spec it for, and tune the experience for exactly what you want, whether you're a creator, a gamer, or doing VR, right? Now there's, just to finish the conversation on the SKUs, there's a 65-watt SKU as well. And so the 100-watt SKU focused primarily on premium VR experience and AAA games. The 65-watt SKU we think would be great for a lot of AAA games, but also the creator and the workstation type of environment as well. And so that's the main difference between the two SKUs. Otherwise, all the I/O, all the video ports, which are a lot basically on this. You get 7 USB ports. You get up to 6 independent displays that you can run, all at 4K.
I was Thunderbolt 3 sold me.
A couple Thunderbolt 3 ports on it.
That.
Dual LAN. I mean, whatever you need, it's on this thing, and it's 1.2 liters. Oh my gosh, that's cool. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
So building the 100-watt unit around the idea that it is overclockable, how does Intel address performance stability and especially optimizing cooling? Because running it under its stock load, this box remains remarkably cool. We were throwing a ton of Overwatch at it.
Yeah.
I mean, and picking it up and holding it, I'm used to playing, especially on mobile.
The laptops can heat up.
Yeah, and you can feel exactly where those pain points
if they're on your lap, it's not so comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just like to say, I'll give a shout out to the engineers on my team. We have great engineering at Intel. We actually custom developed a vapor chamber that basically sits in the bottom of this thing, and then there are a couple fans on either side. The fans are a little bigger so that when they do need to kick on, they're not so annoying and whiny like some of these smaller fans can be.
Like my laptop.
Yeah, and so you will need fans at a certain point in time, but we're hoping it's not the hairdryer effect or the super annoying whiny effect. But the vapor chamber was a customization done by our engineers. Vapor chambers kind of were in and then we're out for a while and we're taking a little risk here. But so far it looks like this risk is paying off because just like you, when we're running this thing through benchmarks and stuff, it's surprising how much workload it can manage without the fans coming on full speed.
For a significant period of time.
And where it's not burning up when you touch it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Now you mentioned that the Hades Canyon NUC supports Thunderbolt 3, which unlocks a lot of interesting potential. The Newegg Ninjas actually put this relatively new connection to the test, and the results were pretty mind-boggling. We should be able to take a look at that right now live in the studio. Do we still have it set up? Yep, right there.
It is.
Okay, that is 9 monitors all hooked up to one system. The Newegg team was able to do this by using an external GPU via Thunderbolt 3 and every port on the Hades Canyon NUC. This might not be the most practical thing ever.
It's definitely
but
not.
It's pretty cool.
It's super cool.
So, John, what are some more real-world scenarios for which someone might use Thunderbolt 3?
Yeah, so first of all, I'd like to say we have 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports. So, because one just wasn't quite enough for this beast, right? And so we think a great setup for a gamer would be to be running your Thunderbolt monitor with one of the ports. And then you got tons of storage. You got the need for all your games and everything. So you got a big storage device with your terabytes of hard drive external. But with that Thunderbolt port at 40 gigs per second, you're able to run it off of there as if it were, onboard storage for your product, right?
Yep.
And so we think that's a great setup for gamers. That for creators, though, we also think that could be a great setup as well, where they need the NAS, right? They need terabytes of storage, and they want the best experience on their monitor. There are more and more Thunderbolt 3 monitors that are available today, right? If you want to, go to town and have a lot of different monitors and such, and you want to expand to 9, you can go through that external graphics module as well.
Well, and I'm actually getting that it's 9 monitors and an HTC Vive.
Oh, there we go.
So
better.
So the NUC is actually powering our VR demos for the rest of the show today too.
Like you do.
Again, really strange that I was able to hear that though without the earpiece.
Yep.
So
always.
As we were discussing, 2 different versions of the Hades Canyon NUC for those of you watching along. Newegg.com/Newegg Now. You can see them both on that page. Pre-order right now as we are talking.
Very cool.
And again, we were talking about the differences between the 200 watt, the ability to overclock. It's a more powerful gaming experience. 65 watt, more content creation. But then also, I think these types of computers, and John, from Intel's perspective, the more lifestyle integrated a kitchen computer or a living room computer, I think we've seen the viability of having a computer under your TV because of game consoles, but they're very limited focus, very limited purpose. And expanding on that discussion, is this another step towards Intel's complete domination of my media and lifestyle entertainment?
Well,
sorry, that was a loaded question.
Yeah, I think it's a fine solution. I'll put it that way. Complete domination is, an interesting way to put it. So I have a NUC in my living room. It passes what I call the wife acceptance factor. I don't get, I don't get told to put it away or tuck it away. Right. It actually looks fairly nice with the other
AV
type of consumer, electronic stuff that I have in my living room as well. So I think this plays well. It's pretty much clutter free. And it's not cumbersome or ugly to look at, right? Yeah. So this type of product, and I would also say that some of the lower performing NUCs are actually fine for most of your media experiences. This would just be an amazing media experience. It would let you do your VR and your games in your living room or your den as you wish as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, one of the more interesting things about previous NUC generations
Right.
is the secondary market that spawned around them.
Yeah.
Third parties have developed specialized NUC housings for fanless cooling, for increased durability, and even underwater usage.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this trend, and do you expect it to continue with Hades Canyon?
Yeah, I do. So we have a lot of partners in the industry that are very smart, a lot of innovation going on the channel. And, our chassis is, I would say, somewhat consumer-ish, right? And it's not going to withstand some of the environments that might need to be, deployed for a more rugged type of usage, right? And so we have partners that have taken, our NUCs and put them into fanless type of chassis. This might be a bit of a challenge at 100 watt, but our 45 watt NUC actually does have a fanless solution out there, which is pretty amazing for a 45 watt processor. And so these guys thrive at taking the insides of the NUC and moving it over. And yes, you got to tweak your thermals because this is, the thermals for this are kind of measured out, specifically for that chassis.
Right.
But these guys, they know how to do it. They're smart, and I do expect that trend to continue. Bringing more ecosystem partners in to create, the fanless, the waterproof type of and ruggedized type of chassis.
Awesome.
Excellent. So, I mean, just to wrap us up, what are you most excited about working on this team, working on this project, where NUC is now, and especially with Hades Canyon, where Hades Canyon is now, and where you might see this generation of the platform expanding?
Yeah. So, I'm jazzed about the Intel VR machine, for sure. I do want to give a shout out to the engineers who made this happen. So if I'm allowed to mention a few names,
Please.
Greg Latour, Damon Haggerty, Yoshi, Brad Clark, Ray Washington, Joel Ardizabal. These guys are great. They've made this thing happen. They're really smart guys. I'm totally excited though, and I mentioned it before, about this product is basically a convergence of two things that I think are growing. Small form factor and gaming. And so the enthusiast market and small form factor kind of coming together. We're going to try this out and see how it works. Now, we're not saying this is your ultimate gaming machine, but gee, this is easy to carry around, right?
Yeah.
You can put this in your backpack and move it from place to place. It's much easier to transport than a big honking tower, right? And it gives you a premium VR experience in 1.2 liters. We're going to continue to push the envelope, and we're going to have some cool, new, exciting things that are coming beyond this. So, just kind of put that teaser out there, and hopefully I can come back and tell you all about it.
We need to have you back
next time.
Yes,
Definitely.
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming in, and you're definitely required to come back at a future point.
All right.
For the show.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now, if you out there watching are excited to get your hands on one of these Hades Canyon NUC systems for yourself, today's your lucky day. Pre-orders are live right now on Newegg.com/Newegg Now.
Yes, and both versions of Hades Canyon are going to be available for you to check out. The 100-watt, top-of-the-line mini VR powerhouse model. You heard it from the Intel guy. Like, if you need to overclock, you need to overclock it. That's going to be $999, as well as the 65-watt model for just $799. Both models come with $450 of free software bundled in. So if you're interested in that 100-watt beast, then Newegg is definitely the best place to pick one up, because we're also going to get a bunch of extra goodies that you won't find anywhere else.
Yes, so those extra goodies include the racing game Dirt 4, PC Mover Pro software to help you move your computer life over to your new system, and a $50 Steam card. So again, these are goodies you get in addition to goodies you would get buying anywhere else. So got to buy it on Newegg to get those goodies.
Yeah, so if you're looking for more information about the Hades Canyon NUC, make sure you go to unlocked.newegg.com. We have full benchmarks and a closer look at that crazy 10 displays.
Yep.
If you count the HTC Vive, which we should, because actually the HTC guy we're going to interview is sitting right here. So we need to count the HTC Vive as well. We'll have a link to Unlocked below this video on YouTube and on the Facebooks.
So get your pre-orders for the new NUCs in while supplies last on Newegg.com/Newegg Now. And next up, we're continuing our discussion of virtual reality with HTC Vive. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Newegg Now. Maybe you've heard of a little property, a book, which is becoming a movie called Ready Player One.
Oh yeah, that one.
Shameless plug, just covered it on my Geek Podcast book review podcast, the Geek Book Club. Just a tiny little thing.
Just
I don't
a
know.
small indie, you know.
Yeah, it's gonna be this little art house film. There's a bit of VR in it, and it comes out today. We're looking at this as one of those things. I think it could be an interesting consumer tipping point for moving the conversation forward, helping build even more VR craze than we're currently seeing.
Which would be awesome.
Be
Here to
pretty cool.
talk more about VR and maybe even some Ready Player One, we have Jonathan Sutherland from the HTC Vive team. Welcome, Jonathan.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what you do at HTC?
I am actually the channel training manager, so I help develop training materials and distribute those to all of our partners and channels. So I help do that, and then I also run a small field team in a couple key markets in the U.S. So
Nice.
I do both of those.
Field team, like actual interaction with consumers or training people
Yep,
at HTC?
all of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
so kind of
Nice.
grassroots, organic, kind of mind share. They go out and do events, work with retailers, things like that. Just kind of spread some VR love.
Sounds like a fun
Excellent.
job.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's awful.
So we got to get right into it. The excitement over. So I posted a photo of just all the headsets that we've got. Comment after comment after comment. Is that a Vive Pro? You've got a Vive Pro. What's up with the Vive Pro?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Vive Pro.
That's what I'm here for, yeah.
Definitely, I just to jump right in on what are some of the differences? What's changed? How is this? What is the evolution over the standard version of the Vive?
Yeah, from Vive, the current Vive, we've gotten a lot of feedback. So kind of the key big things that we improved on the headset. First one is resolution. It's going to be 2880 by 1600. So big increase in resolution there. That's really important for VR. Next one, we learned a lot from the Deluxe Audio Strap, so including the integrated headphones. Those actually have 3D spatial audio in there, so with built-in amplifiers. So if you're hearing like a space from over in that corner and then one behind you, where you move, it's actually going to change the levels and intensity. So
important.
really, it really helps with the immersiveness, right?
Nice.
There's a couple features on it too, where you can mute a mic on the right side, I believe, and on the left side you can go up and down on the volume. So you can do it all from right there at the headset.
Nice.
Yeah. And then a big one is the visuals, right? Like it looks so much different, and it looks a little bit bigger, but the ergonomics and the weight distribution are totally different.
Okay.
You got to try the headset, I'm guessing, right? Yeah. So it felt really good sitting on the front of your face,
It does.
and then it kind of cups the back of your head.
Well, I was going to say it doesn't feel like it's sitting on the front of my face.
Yeah.
Right.
So already the balance is significantly different.
The balance is awesome.
So really, it's when we're looking at Vive Pro, it's about addressing pain points from the first generation of VR headsets.
Yeah. I mean, feedback is really important, right? From developers to businesses to consumers, and we take that to heart. So, Pro addresses a lot of those things. Another feature is the two front-facing mics. One has noise cancellation, so it's really great for social interactions, right?
Nice.
So, if I'm playing a competitive game or I'm training somebody in VR, that background noise is going to be canceled out, so you can hear me clearly. So it's
Very
really
cool.
important for those.
Okay, so I have to ask because the era of face computing and style and the different looks that companies are going for. Why change the color? Why is it a different color?
I didn't get that memo. I'm not quite sure. I thought the black looked really good too, but Vive as a logo and as a lot of our marketing, it's blue. So I think it's only natural that we kind of changed it to a blue. And
Shifting gears.
not an official answer. I have no idea,
Okay.
but yeah,
All right.
I think it looks awesome.
I mean,
blue.
you're an official representative, so
Yeah.
we're going to take that as an official
It
answer.
does look
but-
awesome blue, and it helps it stand out from the competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of person are you targeting with the Pro as opposed to the first Vive?
Yeah, so we have kind of the most demanding consumer, right? Like I kind of consider myself that. Like I'm always building super high-end rigs or benchmarking and things like that. Then also the B2B kind of enterprise, and then developers, right? So this is really important for businesses, for training and different applications, social interactions, those kind of things. I noticed when we were talking in the last interview that VR is growing beyond just gaming. So taking some of these statistics and upgrades and things like that into consideration.
And I noticed also that the Pro headset is being sold separately
Yeah.
rather than as an all-in-one package with sensors and controllers. which makes me think perhaps you're targeting people who already purchased a Vive. Like, what was the thinking here?
I mean, that's a little bit of it, right?
Okay.
You know, we believe that, I mean, one of my favorite features actually of the Pro is that it's backwards compatible. So it's natural that it's an upgrade path, right?
Right.
So, you know, being able to use Base Station 1.0 and Controller 1.0, I think was really important for the market. So being able to buy that headset alone, I think is a really good idea. You can also go to the website on Vive.com, and you can, when you purchase the headset, you can also buy the parts a la carte too.
Right.
Cool.
So you have that option too to bundle that together. But
Awesome.
Excellent. So there was a lot of discussion, especially internally here on the team, just about like the evolution, the different like first gen VR systems that they had gotten a chance to use, and a little bit of discussion on the cabling, the all-in-one cable that connects you to the link box. Can you talk a little bit about how that evolution came to be?
It's, you know, it's lighter weight and easier to use. I think that's what we were kind of going for, right? Like that proprietary cable, it's just plug and play.
Right.
You know, so, you know, before we had the 3-in-1 cable and you had your power, you had your USB 2.0, you had your HDMI or your mini display port. So it was kind of like fitting shapes into holes, right? So it was still easy, but now it's just one cord, right? So
Right.
it's awesome.
Well, it seems like there's still, because we are talking about a premium end of the market.
Yeah.
That any type of like intimidation factor seems to be a part of the discussion. Like,
Yep.
like I was mentioning, even just on my daydream, like, oh, I have to take my phone out of my pocket. I have to stop using my phone as my phone and put it in this cradle, then launch a special app, and then get into this menu, and then I can
steps.
load a game which I can only really play for a limited amount of time because I'm probably going to get a phone call or a text or an alert or something that it requires my attention. So with Vive Pro, you guys have been looking at that kind of consumer reaction, consumer response.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's another one of the pieces of feedback is, you know, ease of setup, you know, from start to end. You know, and we offer different solutions like, you know, tripods to mount the base stations instead
Yeah.
of putting them up on the wall or something like that. You have a ton of different options. You know, and I think cabling and things like that are starting to kind of get ironed out also on, you know, how to set it up and how intimidating it could be and things like that.
Yeah, we were playing. I was writing for a different outlet that we got a pre-release Vive, and we didn't have some of those solutions in place. Like, how are we supposed to set up these sensors? And we're trying to find like lighting stands and tripod mounts and stuff like that to try and get them up.
Yeah.
One of the other changes, and I think this is also a change that's kind of happening in the consumer space too, is the switch from HDMI to DisplayPort. And I was hoping you could kind of discuss
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
the technical advantage of why that change was made.
Yeah, it's another ease of setup thing. You know, if you look at the current Vive's link box, you actually have a mini DisplayPort to DisplayPort option on there too. So what we really just did was take away the HDMI, and most modern GPUs these days have a DisplayPort on it. So especially the ones that you need to run Pro or the current Vive. So I think we were just making it easier for people to set it up.
Now, is there a
Awesome.
technical difference though? Like, is there
Not
a
from-
reason that stepping to HDMI would maybe be limiting to the experience, or?
No, I don't think so.
Ultimately-
I mean, I think with them both being display, you know, options, it was we just decided which one we wanted to take out, and I think
The
you know,
features DisplayPort.
Yeah, I
right.
think so. Yeah, that's
I know a lot of our community at home, because they were talking in chat before this, are excited about this. I'm definitely excited about this. I got a chance
Me
to try
too.
it a little bit at CES this year, but can you please talk about the official wireless solution
Yeah.
that was on display at CES this year?
yeah. This is actually one of my favorite features that's going to be coming out. So it's WiGig, right? With our partnership with Intel, 60 gigahertz bandwidth. So you did get to try it at CES, which is awesome.
did.
Doom VFR.
Yep.
And then we also had this in kind of like our main stage up front with like a custom version of Arizona Sunshine. So we had that running. It's awesome. I think what I'm looking forward to is, you know, seeing somebody with trackers all over their bodies and seeing like a martial arts film or something be made and people doing backflips and all sorts of like choreographed stuff with the wireless solution. So yeah, it runs really well. You know, Doom was super fun, like being able to play a shooter where you need to move around quite a bit felt really good. Yeah, so I think the feedback on it was well received.
Yeah, it's pretty comfortable, not very intrusive to the experience.
No.
Like, all of that is so important.
And it's
when we talk
lightweight.
about the mobile solutions that are the backpacks,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's a very different feel.
It's a very different
From
that
feel,
to that.
Yeah. Or
It's
just
very
just
cool.
the idea that I'm not have to spend a lot of money on like hip.
A whole new PC. Or
Well,
something
not
like
even
that.
just whole like the power management.
Oh,
Like,
gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
Am I running more cables, or do I have like a secondary like Sherpa bag full of like batteries to power my laptop backpack cradle? Speaking of those, like accessorizing this experience, we've seen a lot come out over the past year. The audio strap, the Vive tracker. You were saying some of these tracking options. What should people know about how this sort of augments the Vive Pro experience?
You know, it's really important to the Vive team to support the ecosystem, right? It's not just about the headset, it's about what all you can do with it. Tracker is another one of my favorites. You know, you can search online. There's a team called Ikinema that actually tracks somebody's full body. So they're using two controllers, one on their waist and then two on their feet. And so they had this professional dancer come in, and she's being tracked just perfectly, and you get to see her avatar move. I think that's going to be really important for social interactions and for trainings and things like that, being able to see those avatars and have them move accurately.
And not having to glue balls all over a spandex jumpsuit.
Yep. You know, deluxe audio strap that you mentioned is really important. It's super easy to use. Like, you just turn the dial, you can turn it left or right to, you know, loosen it up or tighten it up, and then take it off with one hand. That's really important for developers, you know, ease of use and things like that. And the integrated audio, is awesome. So
what are your thoughts on the future of VR? Like, how does Vive intend to keep up with the changing
tell us all the specs
and
for the Vive Pro 2. If you can just tell us all that.
I would probably be shot as soon as I left the building.
Trying to be discreet, okay?
Sorry, I'm sorry, I messed that up.
You know, this part is really cool because right now I think VR in general is kind of like the Wild West. Like, everybody's doing something, and a lot of people are doing a lot of different things, and that to me is really exciting. You know what? I don't even know if I can predict like the future of VR, right? Like, because it's, you know, thinking of Ready Player One, it's limitless, right? You can hop into this something like the Oasis and go anywhere and do anything and climb a mountain with Batman, or, you know, hop in the Batmobile, or, you know, play with Tracer or something like that, right? So it's, you know, for me, I love helping people. So using VR solutions like this, like in hospitals and for healthcare and things like that, people trying VR for the first time and getting that big smile. You know, those people have been wheelchair bound their entire life, and being able to take like a 360 video field trip. You know, sometimes I like get done watching one of those YouTube videos, and I'm not afraid to admit, like, I'm sometimes crying like a baby after seeing some of those things. So I see the future of VR is like, not to sound too cheesy, but like helping humanity, you know, and improving humanity and how we interact.
Well, that inclusivity can be really empowering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, think of something like VR chat, right? Like, that's changed the game. You know, that's another one of those things where like everyone's like, oh, what is this? It went from like that to like everyone is playing VR chat. Like, my field people are actually like creating worlds in VR chat, and you can play Mario Kart, and you can do whatever you want, and it's I think that's just a hint of what's to come. So
VR chat is like our mini Ready Player One Oasis.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that more later, but that's where we are now. So what are your thoughts on VR esports? Games like Sprint Vector are being played competitively, and do you think that we'll see more of that in the future?
You know what? I'll start off with first wishing that I was 10 years younger.
I know.
Because I would be in my headset for like 40, 50 hours a week, like practicing for whatever esports thing I wanted to do. You know, right now, Sprint Vector, I'm kind of like dying at the end of it because it's so
exhausting.
Yeah, it is in a really good way. You know, so you know, there's other titles out there too. You know, shooters always translate really well to esports. So, you know, the games like Pavlov VR. I don't know if you got to try that. It's pretty similar to Counter-Strike.
Okay.
So that's really cool. And then there's another one called Onward VR.
Okay.
So it's kind of more like a Battlefield type of shooter, but there's no hitboxes, so if you get hit or if you hit somebody, you have no idea. I watched a cool video of a guy who acted like he got hit on top of a roof, fell over and acted like his avatar had died, and then just popped right back up and got the guy. So it's so cool. There's a mode when I was playing it, they may have integrated it like fully now, but you would like have a hostage, right? So it wasn't actually part of the game, but you would have an agreement with the other team to say, like, we're going to send one of our guys to your base, and we can act like he's the hostage, and then your team has to go in and secure him. So it's there's a lot of cool games out there that I think are kind of paving the way for that. But yeah, that's
very cool.
So already seeing that, I mean, like, again, you know, when VR first arrived, and it's just demos and tech demos, and look, I can walk around the bridge of my favorite starship or something like that. we're starting to see this actually contributing to innovation in gameplay. What is your view on VR adoption in general? Is it where you would expect it to be? We're kind of coming in around the 2-year mark for some of these more premium solutions. How does this compare to when like the Vive was first released?
You know, I think a lot of people, just in general, when you think of VR, you don't actually know what you're getting into until you actually try it, right? Like, so many people will say, oh, you know, what's on that screen right now, is that what they're experiencing? And every time I'm like, no, that's really just for me to give them direction. Like, it's going to be totally different, right? So I think a lot of people didn't know truly what to expect when Vive first came out. But as you know, more demos were rolling out and more people were getting their hands on it, I think the excitement is continuing to grow and grow and grow. I think we're in a really good space. And then introducing Pro, we're, like I said, really listening to the community and developers and things like that. And we're continuing to build the ecosystem. We're continuing to innovate on the HMDs and really thinking about the people who will be using it. That extends past just gamers, businesses and healthcare and all those kind of things. So when you have enterprise and the medical fields and government all thinking about VR, I think that kind of says something about VR and Vive as a
the
as a
health
whole.
of the industry.
Agreed. Now, we've been doing a lot of teasing of the Oasis and Ready Player One, and you guys have been working on some Ready Player One content that I think we have a trailer we can check out.
Can we pop that up?
Get ready.
Now, please tell me what that was,
so
because
awesome.
that is not the demo I played at CES.
Yeah, so you'll find some new content on Viveport. So you can go and download that now, and it's going to be free. So that was actually Rise of the Gunters. So without spoiling any of the story or anything like that, or telling any of the back end, but when I demoed it, it feels like Unreal. Do you remember like the Unreal Tournament?
Totally.
Like fast-paced Twitch shooter. Like that's what it feels like to me. So locomotion feels really good. You can teleport. You get the choice of 6 different guns, right? And so you just run through this battlefield and you're fighting all these different enemies. And so it gets really hectic, and you get this like, I forget what they call it exactly. To me, I call it like beast mode. You just get this crazy gun and you shoot this laser at everybody and build up a high score. Yeah, it's really fun, and it's one of my favorites.
Now, because it's Rise of the Gunters, is there like player customization that they can? I mean, obviously licensing issues. It's not going to be like the movie had issues with licensing for all the different properties of the book.
There are different avatars you can choose.
Okay.
Yeah, they're preset there.
So you're not like the Sixers. You're not just like this, like one look avatar.
Yep.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure.
And for the people out there who are more VR chat inclined and less Battlefield inclined, you can hang out in H's basement and stuff like that, and that's a little bit about like what I got to try out. So there's some Ready Player One content for everyone. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
So one last question before we let you go. I mean, because we had the conversation, we still have the NUC up on the table here. HTC building a premium experience. What are you guys looking at in terms of the rise of this small form factor? Obviously, specifically Intel's Hades Canyon NUC, but then also what you guys are building your VR platforms around. Like, this looks like it's going to be a growing consumer trend.
Yeah. I mean, I think the VR community would welcome any sort of solution, right? Whether it's a backpack, whether it's a full tower, or a smaller solution like that. I could see VR arcades slapping this onto a wall and tethering at your cord, and you'd have 8 to 16, 24 people all lined up playing from those machines. But yeah, I mean, you talked about cable management, and while we're waiting on wireless to come, you know, this is something that you could easily manage cables with, and not have things maybe drag the floor or wire it from the ceiling or anything like that. But you know, all of those are really good solutions, and it's awesome. You know, that's another big tell that, you know, VR I think is getting bigger every day. Is, you know, folks like Intel are coming up with solutions. You know, with part of their mindset is let's empower VR. So yeah, I think that's great.
Excellent. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down.
Yeah,
and chat with
thanks
us
for
about
having me.
this.
It was a lot of fun.
We've been seeing so much excitement about
I'm
Vive
excited,
Pro,
yeah.
so- Excellent.
Like we said, very hard job that you have, sir.
Oh
So-
yeah, it's the worst. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And for those of you watching at home, if you're interested in the Vive Pro, you can pre-order the headset on Newegg.com right now for $799, right from that Newegg.com/Newegg Now page. Or you can also take advantage of the new lower price on the original Vive package and get the headset controllers and sensors on Newegg, all for just $499. Crazy.
Oh, it's so great.
Crazy.
I love watching that happen. So, of course, in order to enjoy the power of the HTC Vive, you're going to need a gaming PC capable of running it. And that's where our Newegg Now deals come into play. So if you're on Newegg.com/Newegg Now, take a look at the components we have on sale today. Get a head start on your next VR-ready PC build, saving a bunch of cash. We already mentioned the RX 580 GPU at the top of the show. Great option for VR. Or you can get the latest and greatest and pick up the Hades Canyon NUC. Shock your friends with a VR-ready system that's small enough. You would be able to put that in the palm of one hand.
I think so.
It's tiny. It's petite.
We've got special pricing on just about every PC part that you need to make your dream rig happen. If you need a power supply, check out the Corsair RM1000i. That's a 1,000 watt, 80 plus gold rated PSU that you can get today for just $169.99. Or maybe you need a CPU cooler to keep things nice and chill while you're exploring the world of Ready Player One in VR. In that case, go ahead and save $30 on Corsair's H75 liquid CPU cooler with the promo code on that Newegg Now page. There's so much more on that deals
there's a
page
lot going
today.
on.
And we'll highlight a few more special items that you'll want to take a look at in just a few minutes. But before we do that, we've talked a lot about the hardware side of VR today, but not as much about the games and experiences. So Juan, are you sold on VR? Do you think it has the software it needs right now to succeed?
I am personally in the camp of, I do believe we need that one great AAA title crossover. A game that generates so much discussion that people feel they need to play it. And I think that's a tough call. I mean, in the gaming market right now, we've got a really healthy market. There's a lot of competition going on. So I think it's going to be difficult to find that breakout that really pushes it over the edge. But what I'm most excited about, exactly what Jonathan was discussing, is the periphery of other VR experiences outside of the gaming discussion, I feel are really helping to drive the adoption rate and educate consumers, especially in the education market, educate consumers younger.
Yes.
So that VR doesn't feel like this out-of-place special
this
sometimes
weird
thing.
futuristic
Exactly.
hobby that some
It's just sort of
people
built
have.
into, just another component of a media consumption.
Yes.
And I feel it's probably going to crest over into that general consumer space of it being common before we have like this one tentpole game that's going to drive everyone to go out and suddenly buy hundreds of dollars worth of equipment. I think instead it's just going to creep up on us that, oh, I just don't know a world without VR.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. I also am waiting for the big game that makes everyone, even people who haven't dabbled in VR, say, I need this. But in the meantime, we do have a lot of really nice software options coming out in the last couple years. And we actually have a list of some of the best-selling VR games on Steam in 2017. This is according to Valve. And it just is an FYI, I believe that this is priced based on the amount of money in sales, not the amount of copies of the software. But Juan, run us down the list.
Some of the more successfuls. Number one, we've got Fallout 4 VR. Now, according to Steam, we're only looking at 78,000 players, but it generated 4.7 million in sales at the end of 2017, and it only came out in December. That's a pretty good ramp, especially considering the narrow focus of the platform being VR. Number 2 and 3. Number 2, Arizona Sunshine. 3, Raw Data. So we've got shooting zombies and robots. Again, lending that first-person shooter perspective. it makes a lot of sense to go to an immersive environment like VR.
It's really fun.
But what I love is following up immediately on shooting zombies and robots, we've got Tilt Brush at number 4. Again, immediately people looking at creativity options. You know, not just content consumption, but content creation is a big deal on any kind of platform shift. Getting people excited about creating for the platform is a really big deal. Number 5, Job Simulator.
Yeah.
Which I have not played, but I've heard people talk about.
It's fun. It's very funny.
Is because it's like The Sims. Like I live a life, and the Job Simulator I can simulate. Okay.
Trust me, Job Simulator is not like your real job.
Okay,
you
good.
Play it, you'll
Well,
find
I mean,
out.
I like my real job. I don't want to simulate a lesser job than the job I enjoy.
It's a silly job. Think
So,
of it that
okay.
way. Think of it
Okay.
as a silly job.
Fair enough.
Number 6 is audio shield, so you can sweat along to your music for the
That's cool.
DDR and Guitar Hero folks out there.
That's
it's a
super
really,
cool.
really fun option. And at number 7, one of our favorites here on the channel, Super Hot VR. Woo!
Love it so much.
It's so nice. One of the things that I love about this list is, like you were mentioning, it kind of takes the wide breadth of gaming preferences from your traditional gamers and shows that reflected in the world of VR. So
Definitely.
it's not just one type of gamer that's moving over to the VR movement. It's, a little bit of everyone.
Yeah, I mean, and again, showing that we already have a pretty healthy breadth of different kinds of experiences. Like, I would be worried about VR if it was like, it's only first-person Twitch, like competition-style gameplay. Wouldn't necessarily make me feel like we've got a healthy ecosystem to look
Or
forward
it's
to.
only chat lobbies.
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
So the world of Second Life is coming new. But yeah, we do have a nice breadth of everything, and that's very, very cool. So we should also probably talk about some of the big upcoming VR titles
Yes,
to watch
definitely.
out for in 2018. Skyrim VR is coming to PC, and that will definitely be one of the best sellers of the
It
year.
was really loud, especially considering, Fallout having some success there. Skyrim, I'm sure, is going to be a really big deal.
Skyrim VR.
I don't know why they're making me talk about this. The game from the Job Simulator team, they're going to come out with a vacation simulator.
Oh yes, I have seen the trailer.
that can hopefully replicate the success of the original with the same kind of humor. Again,
It's very silly.
I'm gonna have to play.
Yeah, just trust me on that
I
one.
see Job Simulator and I get really nervous. Like, I'm not the
No.
biggest Sims gaming fan. So.
I'll convert you. It's cool.
Okay. All right, good.
And there's
I need
also 2 new titles coming from Survios, the developers behind Raw Data and Sprint Vector. Electronauts is a co-op VR music experience with no scores or objectives. You just get to do your best Daft Punk impression and play along with some killer electric tunes.
I
Sounds
am
cool.
on board for that idea.
Right?
And then, I mean, like, I'm almost kind of surprised it's taken this long for Creed Rise to Glory, a boxing game based on the upcoming film. The second I got to Super Hot, and you're
just wanna
doing some
box?
boxing and stuff, like, oh, I need a game that's just that.
Dude, it's exhausting.
I can't wait. But again, the gamification and the ability to move while gaming, fitness aspects while gaming, we've seen so many amazing little hints at this, like Nintendo nunchucks. Again, just putting the little bug of an idea in there, but then executing this right here. A game where the speed of your punches actually determines how much damage you do. That's awesome. So, I'm looking forward to. We need to do.
To sweating buckets on the show.
Yeah,
Playing that game.
like I'll show up in like all my sweat, my Adidas, and we'll rock it. It's gonna be good times.
Oh man. All right, before we dive back into the deals and wrap up today's show, let's go ahead and check in on that Newegg Now hashtag, because I think we saw a really great submission from Prey Gaming on Twitter.
Can we throw it to my laptop here? Because this is actually a really cool triple monitor setup, streaming
nice.
setup. Again, I'm loving it when I see people throw that mic into play, showing off the headset.
Yeah.
Great boom arm there.
Very cool.
And that pair, the catty corner pair of NZXT computers,
Look how clean that is.
it's so pretty.
This next shot is my favorite that you're gonna show.
The
Maybe
close-up?
the one after that. The under the
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
the under the desk. That cable management is
On point.
oh my, your goals.
I feel
okay?
like Prey Gaming is trying to shame me
Yes.
in my current cable
definitely
management
shaming my
solution.
cable management for sure. I'm telling you, that is my goal
I'm
for someday.
maybe a little upset that it's so good, and I need it to be a bit messier.
No, I love it. Keep it just the way it is. It's beautiful and perfect. So remember, guys, if you at home want to be a part of the show, please send us your pictures on Twitter. Use the Newegg Now hashtag and submit your battle station photos, your VR room, your pile of Newegg boxes, whatever your tech pride and joy is.
Love it.
We want to see it and help you share it with the world.
Definitely. So before we head out today, one more quick pass. All the deals on newegg.com/Newegg Now. Of course, pre-orders on the brand new Hades Canyon NUC systems from Intel, the 2 different new models coming out from Intel, the Vive Pro VR headset, but of course, there's so much more.
Everyone needs more storage, especially if you're going to be installing VR games on your PC.
Yes.
If you're in the market for a traditional hard drive and a more compact footprint, then make sure you check out the Western Digital Black Drive, specifically designed for small form factor PCs and laptops. You can pick up a 1 terabyte model today for just $59.99.
And if you're looking for an ultra-fast solid-state drive, how about the TR200 from Toshiba? 480 gigs of 64-layer 3D BICS flash memory, just $119.99 today only, while supplies last, via Newegg Now.
There's also special pricing on 2 different cases from Leon Lee. You can save $30 on the stylish Alpha 550 with 4 tempered glass panels, 3 RGB fans, and room for extended ATX motherboards.
And also the rugged PC D600 full tower case, made from aluminum with plenty of room for all your extra large components, just $199 today, with a $50 Newegg gift card you can use on a future purchase.
And hey, if you're a longtime Newegg Now viewer, you might remember when we had Zotac on the show talking about their compact Z-Box mini PC. For just $599, you get a VR-ready system with a GTX 1060 in it in a super small form factor. There's no operating system on it, so you'll need to be ready to install one yourself, but it's a powerful and versatile mini PC, and you can get it for a great price today.
And there's more. I just love throwing that in there. So much more. Crazy one and his deals. Love it.
What else is there, Juan?
Sorry. Getting me back on track. Driving me back on track with Logitech's G920 driving wheel. Great fit for VR. This is actually something that I'm really curious to try out. I haven't tried a flight sim or a racing game in VR.
Oh, I have tried it at trade shows. It's very cool.
I need to have this experience, especially because we know Juan's very sensitive stomach. $200 off MSRP today with that promo code. We also have in-ear headphones from Bose, portable system options from Asus and HP. We've got a lot of stuff. So head on over to newegg.com/Newegg Now. Do your shopping because the clock is already ticking. And while we've got all kinds of PC components, electronics, and stuff like that.
Yeah, lots of hardware, lots of electronics. But
Newegg?
Not everyone may know that Newegg sells other things too.
And so these just came in. I am very much looking forward to I'm going to take this one home with me in a segment I like to call
yours.
I Took It Home. And,
I think we should make the I Took It Home segment happen
a
more
bigger deal on
frequently.
this show. Yeah, definitely. But we're rocking some really cool new Black Panther stuff. So Marvel, you can check it out.
Marvel stuff on Newegg. So check it out.
I'm gonna put this on as soon as the show's over.
That's a nice shirt.
True story.
Yeah, man.
All right, good deal.
Okay, and that's going to do it for our show today. So thanks to everyone for watching. We will be back next week talking about all the big news in the world of games. We'll check in with the world of AMD, and Juan and I will be going to Montana for some Far Cry 5. It's going to be a really fun show, so make sure that you're here next week. All right, guys, this has been Newegg Now, and now you know.